Let's start with the WWE pay cut situation. So we were off last week, so we didn't get to cover the fact that the New Day, along with Tongaloa and Jeff Cobb, got released. The bigger news of that, obviously, being the New Day. And we would go on to find out that the reason the New Day got fired, or sorry, they didn't get fired. The reason they got released is because their contract, which they signed a year ago, TKO wanted to restructure that contract and lower the pay that they were getting. They said no, and here we are. Now they're no longer with the company. Again, they signed a 5-year contract last year, and here we are a year later, and TKO let him go. I mean, good for them. Now, I don't know the language in the contract, obviously, but if it were me and I just signed a 5-year contract, they're like, hey, so that contract you signed last year, we're going to need to restructure that. I mean, if it were me, I'd be like, oh, well, we can do it in 5 years. You're paying me all my money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't begrudge them at all for that.
Yeah, I just don't know how you go from signing a 5-year contract to a year later, now you don't have a contract at all. Doesn't seem like what a contract should mean. But I'm sure there's some legal hurdles. Well, obviously, there is legal stuff that can get them out of the contract, this being TKO. But we had that happen. Then we got some more news that broke, and we go to Yahoo Sports for this story here. So it says WD stars are being asked to take up to 50% pay cuts amidst ludicrous corporate greed. It seems like a biased thing now.
I see. Yeah.
I thought they were just reporting it, but now I know this skewed. But it says the weeks following WrestleMania are traditionally a time where WWE retools its roster for the upcoming year and beyond. Despite there not being a true off season in wrestling, like any other sport, WrestleMania and SummerSlam is when new talent is pushed up the card, old faces are scaled back, and unfortunately, some wrestlers are released altogether. That indeed happened. The WWE released up to 20 wrestlers. I think the final count was like 24. And then if you add the New Day and Jeff Cobb and Tongaloa, that's 28. And then there was another person, 29. It was some NXT guy. It didn't matter.
Oh
Well, I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure it mattered for him, but you get
Yeah.
it. But on the tail of that news, something entirely different has emerged. Corporate greed, says the Yahoo Sports article. Reports emerged this week that there were superstars inside the company who were subject to the yearly releases, but instead giving ultimatums to either rework their contracts and accept up to a 50% pay cut or be let go. This occurred with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, both of whom decided to leave the company rather than to reduce their rates. Veteran wrestling reporter
Oh God.
Dave Meltzer is also reporting that there are some inside WWE who accepted the ultimatum and signed a new contract, reducing their contracts as a result of these strong arm tactics.
Now I don't trust the article.
They're
Lost us both.
sucking off Dave there. They found a way to do that. It's certainly not unusual to see pay scales change over time in professional wrestling, moving up and down as a result of wrestlers' position inside the company, but it is unheard of the talent being asked to take massive pay cuts while under contract in an effort to push them into lower paying roles, especially when TKO executives, WWE's parent, has exploded to double and even triple their multi-million-dollar salaries. So this was Brendan Thurston on Twitter. He released like the higher ups contracts. So I guess Ari Emanuel, his contract year over year went up 272%.
Isn't he over the UFC too?
Yes.
And then some boxing as well.
Yes.
So his salary isn't indicative of just WWE.
It's not, but I'm not big in the UFC, but UFC fans kind of said the same thing happened when TKO took over UFC. They're doing the same thing what they're doing to WWE. They're treating the talent as less than, like,
While
they're
the rich
just,
get richer.
yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Ari Emanuel, his salary went from 18 to 67 million. Mark Shapiro went from 32 to 43 million, and Nick Khan went from 6 to 24 million
Good for
over
him.
year. So they've gotten bumps while these talents are getting their pays cut. We'll leave the rest of the article there for you guys to read if you want to read up on that, but you kind of get the gist of it there. So the talent is being asked to take pay cuts, and I honestly don't know why this is a big deal for wrestling fans. Like, why we even should care about the pay cut part.
Good point.
Like, why do we care how much money they make? But I guess the talking point is because, yeah, some people didn't take it, like the New Day. And it's ultimately, as Yahoo Sports put it, that corporate greed that is leading to WWE that just doesn't even feel like it's a wrestling family.
It
I
has
guess
no
that's the best way
soul.
to put it. Yes. So on SmackDown, Ricky Saints and Matt Cardona were wrestling, and I just couldn't help but to think, like, okay, Ricky Saints is getting no reaction. That doesn't bode well for him. Matt Cardona is a loser. That doesn't bode well for him. And then it's like, oh, well, why even get invested in them when we know what's going to happen? Not saying it's going to happen like next year, but the writing's on the wall.
Well, I think they proved that they'll release just about anybody, and it doesn't matter what level they're at. Like they could be enthralled in a storyline on TV for weeks. That doesn't matter. Or they could be in catering.
Yes. Which goes back to what I was talking about on the initial release when we were talking about, like, oh, Ari Emanuel doesn't know who Apollo Cruz is. My argument to that was like, yeah, he doesn't know who he is, but I bet he knows how to look at a spreadsheet and see a number next to a name and be like, why is this number here? And this kind of proves that.
Do we know how much the New Day were making?
It was a 7-figure contract, and half of that would be not 7 figures. I mean, it works out better for them anyway because now they're going to go to AEW. I mean, AEW's pretty much already confirmed it. Like, all the talents have posted this, that, and the other. Kenny Omega, MJF.
I think they're just trying to recruit really heavy.
Yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. Also, if they left because of half of the pay, like they didn't want to take the half of the pay, then yes, the only place that can pay what they would want then would be AEW.
JCW.
I don't think they can afford them.
Maybe Austin Creed.
I don't think they can afford him.
You never know.
Although Father Bronson did tease potential match with Austin Creed.
In fairness, he was at the bottom of the list, so he's got time to get to him.
You think that was in order? No, that can't be in order. Cocaine was at the top, or near the top.
Well, yeah, he's the champion.
I know. He has only had one match. Is he already going to go after the champion?
Well, that's why he was near the top. He wasn't the top.
Which says something in itself.
Well, yeah.
The champion wasn't at the top.
Right. Yeah, he's got to get his warm-up match, then beat Cocaine, and then beat all the other people on the list.
Yeah. But we did also talk about earlier that Asuka, it seems like this was her last match with WWE at Backlash. So just speculating, maybe she was a part of that, hey, take half the pay, and she didn't want to do it.
I mean, in fairness to TKO, like Asuka, she's on TV every week, but she hasn't really done anything. At least I don't think so. And same with New Day. They've been fucking around with Grayson Waller for how long?
By the way, he might as well keep his bags packed.
Right.
But again, theirs was more for the pay cut, so they didn't get just outright released. But yeah, they weren't doing anything. It's also creative's fault. It's not their fault.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Like if you asked them to do something, I'm sure they would do it, and I'm sure
True.
they probably wanted more to do.
I'm just saying that if they're making 7 figures, they haven't really earned it. And true, creative needs to get them in better situations, but at the same time, if you're not contributing to the level of your contract, it only makes sense to at least explore the possibility of making that contract less exorbitant.
Yeah, that's the part about being the businessman. You got to make those kind of calls. Like, hey, we need to cut these contracts. Why are they making 7 figures and not on TV?
Well, I would say a solution to that was not have any fucking 5-year contracts. Because if you want to just start paying people less, like don't do it in the middle of a 5-year contract. At the beginning of the said 5-year contract, maybe it makes more sense if it was like a 3-year contract or something. Maybe New Day would be more amicable to that.
Well, it'd be good for TKO, but not good for the talent. I mean, it happened anyway, but you want to get locked in so this kind of situation doesn't happen. I think
Well,
it ultimately,
I'm sure the talent that they would want to lock in wouldn't have any issue with that. Like Braun Breaker would get locked in.
yeah, I saw somewhere that this is not your top talent. Although there's a lot of rumors going around that they asked Roman Reigns to restructure his deal, and that's why he's not on any Raws in January. I'm sorry, in June.
Didn't they already go that route?
Yeah, but
Allegedly.
I don't think that's true. Like they're not negotiating Roman's contract.
Well, especially after he already told you no.
Yeah, and you hear stories about like people complaining about him doing stuff, and he's like, "Well, put it in your contract if you want it." So it seems like he knows what he's doing contract wise.
Yeah.
He probably has it in his contract that like this is not changing. It was probably signed that way. This is not changing unless it goes up.
You can always pay me more money.
Yeah, I'll take that, but you're not going to pay me less. I'm not getting New Dayed. But yeah, that's the latest on that. Again, as fans, I don't know why we ultimately should be worried about it because it's the talent that we're supposed to be getting invested in.
Yeah.
You can just leave at any point, but you know, I'm sure that 50% pay cut, a lot of those wrestlers are still making more than we'll see in a year. Well, in 10 years. That's a better way of putting that.
Well, and that's why I asked how much they were making in the first place, because if we're just talking about millions, I mean, what, you know what I mean?
Like, you only need one of them. How many do you need?
Yeah.
But I did see some people saying, like, it's just smart business because, like, they're not doing house shows. They're not traveling, 4 days, 5 days a week anymore. So essentially, they're working less than they should be getting paid less.
Yeah. I mean, I can see the business side of it, as cold and heartless as it is. I mean, if you can get away with not paying as much as you've already obligated yourself to, why not at least try it? But who knows?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not something that we should concern ourselves with.
Yeah, our concern is the product. And yeah, that's really the only thing is like the product getting people we're investing into. Like if Oscar, there's still more news to come out on Oscar if that was actually if Backlash was her last match, and if it was because of the pay cuts. You'd have to think Kyrie was part of the pay cut thing too,
Possibly. Or
because
she was just outright released.
I don't know. The report on her was that she wanted to go back to Japan at some point, so they released her.
But then she
But
said she didn't leave.
yeah, so it could have been they went to her with a pay cut and she didn't want to take it, and that was that. Because again, this wasn't someone that like wasn't on TV every week, so it all doesn't make sense when that part of it happens. Like someone that's there every week and they get released without even finishing out the story.
Right. Although I wish we would stop crying over these mid-carders getting released or leaving.
Like who?
Kyrie, the New Day.
Okay. Next segment. I see what you're trying to do there. We're not doing that.
What?
You calling them mid Carters?
They're jokes. First of all, they're in the tag team division, one of the most useless divisions in the WWE. They had one interesting thing where they turned on Big E and they didn't do shit with that. Again, creative's fault. They dropped the ball with that. But they've had Grayson Waller as their little white slave.
Yes, it hadn't been the best run over the last few years.
And Xavier Woods is clearly the more talented of the two, but he doesn't wrestle that much. Kofi Kingston, he wasn't even the most interesting guy in the group. He was just the lackey. And Kairi Sane, all she's been doing is this fucking Stockholm Syndrome shit for, what was it, the past 2 years? They keep stopping and starting that.
Yeah, when they need it.
But she doesn't wrestle. She doesn't really contribute. She's just set decoration. So I don't get it. I don't get the emotional support. It still sucks without them. It sucked with them.
Well, for the New Day, it was more of a nostalgia act. Funny thing, Ridge Holland kind of ruined Foreman's career that day.
Fair.
That day, he ruined Big E's career, but he also then ruined his career and Xavier's and Kofi's. 4-man's career off of one belly to belly suplex.
Where is Grayson Waller? Did he get hurt?
No, I think he got Oba last week because he was talking shit and Oba was right behind him.
Right.
He has new tights though.
Well, he has to because he's not New Day anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, you can just see the writing's on the wall for him. Again, it's going to be better for them. They're going to show up in AEW and
wrestle the Young Bucks. Can't wait.
Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, FTR, and run that back. Yes, there's a whole slew of things they can do. Xavier Woods will be able to help the video game side. He was the face of Up Up Down Down, which is WWE's video game YouTube channel. Right now they have Evil Uno on the AEW side, and he's not even a face because he wears a mask. And there's Kenny Omega, who he's supposed to be in charge of the video game, but he's never on like the YouTube channel that I see. So yeah, maybe he'll be able to help there. I don't know. I think it'll be a good thing for them to be in AEW.
WWE sure does love taking a YouTube channel and then ruining it.
Yeah, that's their thing. You get it over, and then we'll take it from here and ruin it.